spinet piano, serial number 887023. This piano is a spinet piano. You can tell that according to two reasons. Number one, the piano is 36 to 39 inches tall. So if you take a tape measure and measure from the bottom of the piano to the top, if it measures less than 40 inches, that means it's a spinet piano. When you open up the inside of the top, the action inside the piano, here's the hammer level. The hammer level is actually down at key height. So when you strike a note, there's actually more parts that are associated with having that hammer strike the string than in a grand piano or a console or studio piano. Another reason a spinet piano is inferior is the fact that they're older. A spinet piano cannot be any newer than the early 1980s, which means that its newest piano can be at least 30 years old. Now, we're going to flip this piano on its back and perform what I like to call a piano autopsy. Now that we have the Wurlitzer on its back, we can see inside of the piano and kind of get an idea on what's happened to it through the years. First, as we look inside, we notice it seems to be a family of spiders have lived inside the piano. That's spider webs from years of not having the inside of the piano cleaned out. And keep in mind, this piano was traded in. That means that the family took pretty decent care of it compared to the majority of the pianos that are out there. There's actually some mouse droppings or rat droppings inside of the piano where mice, rodents, and other bugs actually make a home of this. Essentially, they make this a nest after many years in people's homes. And it's not the fault of the homeowner, that's just a natural tendency. If a piano has been sitting in one place for many, many years, the majority of these pianos that are older tend to have typical issues like this inside. On our other pianos, the action is actually raised up. In a spinet piano, it requires these bridle straps which are attached to the keys. The key pulls up on the action on each of these 88 sets, and that's what causes the hammer to strike the string. After 15 or 20 years go by, if the piano is well cared for and in a stable environmental conditions, this piano is still going to need repairs when it comes to these bridle straps, simply from a dry rot standpoint. These bridle straps are actually made out of leather, and it would cost more to repair all of these bridle straps than it would be to buy a decent used or even a new piano in many cases. After many years of wear and tear, you begin to see that the action parts have actually started to fall out of alignment. This is called regulation. What you're seeing here is the inconsistency from one set of hammers to the next. Look how wide this is, look how narrow this is. Look at how this hammer's up, look at how these hammers are back. This piano requires probably about 5 to 6 hours worth of service work just on the hammers alone to get them back into alignment. Notice these small ridges on the tops of the hammers. That's where the hammer has come up and struck the string repeatedly over the years. If the piano hasn't been properly voiced throughout that time, the piano is no longer going to be able to make the sound that it was intended to make. This is the part of the piano that the tuning pins are sunk into. Here's the plate, here's one individual tuning pin. Now these tuning pins are sunk into wood. As time goes by, expansion and contraction cause that wood to shrink and swell around the tuning pin. And the string pulling on the tuning pin causes the tuning pin to come out of shape. It actually is bending around, and that string is loosening up or tightening up depending on how the wood is shrinking and swelling. That is part of what causes a piano to go in and out of tune. This is a tuning gauge. This basically looks just like a tuning hammer, except it has a measuring device at the top end where the handle would be, and this allows us to measure the foot-pounds of torque per square inch on each tuning pin. If you push on it and it reads anything less than 35 to 40 pounds, and that means the piano doesn't hold a tune. This one's at 40 right now and at 45, so that particular pin holds a tune. And when we get down further down, we'll notice that these tuning pins, that one is moving at 30. You'll notice the tuning pins begin to lose torque. That means that this has to be remedied. And in many cases, this can be a very costly repair in the thousands and thousands of dollars. If you're buying this piano for a child or an adult learning to begin and learn how to play, they've got to learn the fundamentals of playing. And on most spinet pianos and older consoles and older grand pianos, even though the outside of the piano looks like it's in new condition, as is the case here, this is a beautiful pecan finish. This piano is probably not best suited for students or adults learning how to play.